Rogue Squadron appears to possibly be back on track.
What?
While making appearance on the podcast Talking Pictures, host Ben Mankiewicz asked Patty Jenkins, among other things, about her allegedly canceled Star Wars project, Rogue Squadron. To which she replied, quote, "When I left Star Wars to do Wonder Woman 3, we talked about, well, maybe I'll come back to Star Wars after Wonder Woman 3. So we did a deal for that to happen. But then when Wonder Woman 3 went away, Lucasfilm and I were like, oh, we've got to finish this deal. We finished the deal right as the strike was beginning. So now I owe a draft of Star Wars. We will have to see what happens there." She went on to say they have other directors who have been working, but I'm now back working on back doing Rogue Squadron, end quote. As of this moment, there has been no official confirmation from Lucasfilm that this project is still moving forward. Pete, I have feelings about this. I do hope that this one sticks. Now, whether it's Patty Jenkins or not, I know there's some problematic, potentially problematic social things with Patty Jenkins. It does not distinguish the fact that she has had a pretty fascinating career. She started doing music videos with Madonna and Michael Jackson. She also did the Academy Award-winning movie Monster with Charlize Theron. But then from Monster to like 14 years later, it was episodes of Arrested Development. It was TV. It was some other things. And then Wonder Woman came along. She is a passionate creator. She seems to have a specific vision for this film. She talks about her father, who was a pilot. I think there's the opportunity to do some things that I'm excited about, like showcase our friend Paul Sun-Young Lee. Let's give Carson Teva spotlight in a movie. Let's get this squadron going, whatever they're doing, patrolling. To me, it feels like the opportunity to do another kind of genre specific outside of the box Star Wars thing, kind of like Rogue One was. It was a war movie. It was a spy movie. Rogue Squadron could be another version of, you and I grew up watching the World War II movies that our dads watched, the John Wayne movies, a very dogfight heavy something. Like, let's get into something like that. Like, I think that could be fun. What do you think?
I love the concept. I love the concept from day one when Kathleen Kennedy announced it and they showed that cool video at the Investor Day. But I have two issues with Patty Jenkins. One is Wonder Woman 1984 was a very difficult movie to watch. I'm not here to critique movies, and I know some people love it, and that's awesome. And, all the best to you on that. That's great. I did not enjoy that movie, and it makes me nervous as to how she puts together a story. More importantly, though, I have heard the stories of how she works and what, the control that she needs. And that's fine. That's a style, right? That's like, you would never put Stanley Kubrick in a Star Wars situation. I mean, other than the fact that he's no longer alive, but if he was alive, you wouldn't put him there and then expect to be able to have Dave Filoni say, hey, listen, I think we should do something a little bit different with that scene, because that's not going to work. So I worry that she's not the right person for it. I also worry that in her quote, she says something about, you got a lot of other directors right now that they're committed to, and we'll see how that goes. It seems a little me firsty. And we've seen what happens. We've seen what happens with, look, Kathleen Kennedy is a very, I don't want to say controlling, but she knows what she wants, and she knows who she wants to give freedom to.
Well,
and that could be a challenge.
You're right. And we even hear that referenced in the Gina story. I read the Variety article, and she talked about going to sit with Kathleen Kennedy before she was hired to do Mandalorian. And that very specific, she knows what she wants. She's a strong woman. She's whatever. But we've also seen, the Taika movie is floating in the ether. The Ryan, movie or trilogy is floating. Benioff and Weiss. Like, these things have come and gone away. And so I think the, maybe a little bit overlooked part of that statement is exactly what you said. There are other directors out there. There are other things. When you're as a company as big as Disney you can roll the dice and say, hey, let's try, 3, 4, 5 things, see which ones are going to stick and which ones we're ultimately going to develop and move forward with.
Yeah.
So it's certainly very early on.
Yeah. And we'll get into this with John, but you're right. I mean, I think you're 100% right, but we're also in a spot where Iger is also like, not having the flexibility he once did. So